Comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. And of course, President Trump has shown Maduro of Venezuela FAFO, right? And this is amazing. You got to think about how quick President Trump did this, right? They did some surgical strikes, sent in U.S. forces on the ground, and they captured this dictator. And just a couple, we don't even know how fast. I mean, by our timing, a couple hours, but it could have been even less than that. Sorry, guys. Did I lose you? You back? In just a short time, boom, surgical airstrikes, sends special forces in, and they capture the dictator and get him and his wife out of the country like that. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Donald Trump was president after 9/11? Do you think that this war with Afghanistan and Al Qaeda would have gone on for 20 years, or do you think that Trump would have captured bin Laden shortly after the attacks of 9/11? And my guess is he would have captured him quick, just like he did Maduro. And Maduro had a military around him and had been embedded for years in military facilities. And I will be carrying the president's press conference live at 11 a.m., so make sure you subscribe. I'll be in the studio covering the press conference. It will be from Mar-a-Lago, and it should be a good one. I'm imagining Pete Hegseth is going to be there, Marco Rubio, and the president, and who else, we don't know. And this is how you do it. I mean, here we have the drug cartels have been attacking our country nonstop for longer than I've been alive. Nothing has ever been done about it. And for the first time ever, a president has said, enough of this crap, and has come in, and we're taking down the drug cartels. That's what this is. It hasn't been reported as of this moment where they've flown him to. I hope it's Gitmo and not the mainland, because if they fly him to the mainland, my goodness, we'll get federal judges ordering his release, him and the Maryland man. Yeah, exactly. These Obama, Biden, Clinton federal judges will be ordering the release Maduro. He was deposed. Insurrection. President Trump led an insurrection in Venezuela. So if they take him to Gitmo, that would do away with a lot of that nonsense. And man, this is just amazing. We wake up, the airstrike's happening, we know something's going on. I was carrying it live right here, and I was telling you guys, the fact that we haven't seen Maduro, either a photograph, live video, or him calling into some Spanish language news outlet somewhere, shows that he was either killed, captured, or on the run. And we found out that he was captured. And the press conference will be exciting because we're going to get a lot of details of the capture, what happened, and get a timeline. Welcome, everyone. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. The war on drugs has just been a bumper sticker, a meaningless slogan. And what President Trump is doing is ending another war, the war on drugs. And boom, this is how it is. I mean, if President Trump was president on 9/11, we would have had bin Laden and the Al Qaeda leadership killed or captured right away. I remember once during the war on terror, there was a big Al Qaeda leader was killed, and Al Qaeda had a funeral. And you can look this up. They had either it was a drone or a satellite, either a spy satellite or drone footage of this funeral. All the Al Qaeda leaders were there. It was huge, and Bush didn't take them out because that would be inappropriate. Give me a freaking break. He didn't take him out not because it would be inappropriate, because the war would be over. These military-industrial complex-controlled presidents, but not President Trump. I mean, he does not mess around. And it's this operation in Venezuela shows you the might and power of the United States, and how these endless wars that these other presidents have had us in are just, they're endless by design by the presidents and the military-industrial complex to make money. This is how you go in, boom, you get the guy. We're light years ahead of these other countries. Yeah, President Trump just, boom, went in and got him. It's very exciting, and it's being reported the opposition, they have a transition plan already in place, so we'll see how that goes. But I will be covering the press conference live right here on my channel from the studio. I'll be in the studio during the press conference carrying it live, so make sure you're subscribed and you click the notification bell. It's scheduled for 11 a.m. Eastern at Mar-a-Lago. A lot of history has been made at Mar-a-Lago over this Christmas, New Year's break, right? Zelensky came there. Netanyahu, now this. This is a great day. The drug cartels must be freaking out right now. I saw one report that said the Minister of Defense of Venezuela was killed in the attack. I mean, what are we supposed to do? You know, this guy not only has been sending the poison drugs to us, he's been sending us all these very violent criminals. The Trinity, the MS-13ers. I mean, how many Americans are dead because of this? That's right, FAFO. No doubt about it. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. This is how the United States handles wars. 3-4 hours. And you get the leadership. And we can do it in these other instances, too. This is absolutely amazing. Yeah, good morning to you all. Starting 2026 off literally with a bang. Yeah, I was going to do some things today and head out, but I'm going to stay home so I can cover the press conference today at 11. I don't want to miss that. I mean, how many Americans have been killed because of Maduro? Really, how many? Yeah. You know, one thing that a lot of people are, I'm sure, talking about this in the news is if we had captured Maduro, who was releasing all these statements from Maduro? At least 300,000? I'd say more, right? The media, they're not going to like this. The fake news legacy media, they're not going to be happy. It's 50 degrees here in sunny South Florida, which is freezing by our standards. Pretty cold for me to be outside, I got to tell you. I don't know why everyone wouldn't support Trump. I have no idea. Most of the, you know, I mentioned on the stream earlier, and I posted this on X, Elon Musk posted a map of the United States. It's all red, and he said if only taxpayers voted, every state would be red. That's so true. That's so true. Maybe that should be the standard to vote. Only taxpayers could vote. Wouldn't that be a good idea? You have to come with your income tax return to vote. Your voter's registration is your tax return. I like that. And you have to renew it every year. That's the way to do it. That's right. It's a MAGA country. CNN's calling it an illegal capture. Yeah. They're gonna. Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that they flew him to Gitmo. If they took him to Gitmo, the federal judges, you know, if they how long will it be? They're probably, the Democrats are probably waking federal judges up right now, as soon as they find out where Maduro is in U.S. custody, they're going to find a federal judge, maybe even sooner, ordering Trump to release Maduro. Watch. Would you be surprised? They might have a federal judge do that before the 11 a.m. press conference. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Rikers. No, Guantanamo Bay, wherever they send them will be fine. Maybe some black site in Czechoslovakia or something. We have all these black sites. The Czech Republic, Bulgaria, all those CIA black sites. Gitmo would be best. But we'll see. They know what they're doing. Maybe they'll just take him to the Supermax in Colorado. Who knows where El Chapo is? That's right. Alcatraz, yes. Any other tourist traps you might want to take him to? I am not built for this cold weather anymore. I tell you, I need my Florida heat back. It's pretty cold. I almost didn't live stream out here. I was going to live stream either from the car or from home, but I was like, yeah, I need to stretch my legs and stand up a little bit. And my legs are shivering. It really, what this shows you, Venezuela, they have a military, they have air forces, they have ground forces, and the United States was able to jam all of their radar and move in and do a surgical strike, send in special forces and get them. Do you think the war in Iraq could have been fought the same way? Of course it could have. You don't think we could have done this in Iraq and grabbed Saddam Hussein on the first day or two of that? Of course, same with bin Laden. But they want to drag these wars out because it's money. The United States, we are a century ahead of all of these other petty countries around the world with our military strength, technology, and precision. We haven't had a war that's been fought to win since 1945. That's just the way it is, and this is proof of it. Yep, bully. What, are we supposed to let Venezuela continue to kill Americans and not stop Maduro? I don't think so. I don't think so. Could you imagine all these drug cartel leaders and Trende leaders and MS-13 leaders in South America? They must be freaking out right now, thinking they're next, and maybe they will be. Yeah, this is the first military action in a long time that's directly to save American lives. Yeah. Oh, Tim Walz and Ilhan, they're excited about this because it'll get the Minnesota scandal out of the news for a little while. Do you think if President Trump was president on 9/11, do you think he would have captured bin Laden within a day or two? I think so. Absolutely. What do you guys think? As opposed to having a 20-year-long conflict? I don't even think it's a question. We've seen it. Yep. Yep. Our past presidents have just been basically murderers. Right? I read some reporting that said Marines, other reporting said Delta Force. We'll find out at 11 o'clock. If we don't know, we may know more well before then. Yeah, and this will set the stage for future military actions. This is how powerful our country is. We have technology that shut down all the radar. They knew something was coming in. What exactly, they weren't sure, but they knew something was coming in. Yeah. I can't wait to get the pictures. Do you think the pictures of Maduro and his wife, they're going to look like hell, like when they picked up the Al Qaeda guys in the middle of the night, or will they have been dressed up with their hair done and everything? It's hard to say. They knew it was coming. Real Republican, Donald Trump. That's right. He's a real Republican, no doubt. Disheveled? Yeah, the disheveled look is, for more of the humiliation. Because that, with the first picture we see, will be how this moment's remembered. Yeah. Yep, Maduro flown out by the U.S. military out of the country. In their pajamas, yeah. They must be like, what the heck? I'm curious because I haven't ever really heard too much about Maduro's wife. Is she a monster too? We'll find out. Is Maduro's wife facing like being a prisoner too, or are they going to let her go? If you're married to the dictator, you're most likely a party to it. And the way that President Trump just handled Venezuela, it's another example that clears him of anything to do on January 6th. I mean, this is how you overthrow a government. You go in like this and boom. Well, Trump's not a dictator. Big difference. He's the duly elected President of the United States. Eva Braun 2.0. MAGA conservative Venezuelan president. That's right. MAGA forever. Indeed. Indeed. Now, I canceled my Saturday plans I had because I'm going to cover this today. So make sure you're subscribed and you have the notification bell clicked. I will be carrying the 11 a.m. press conference live on my channel here from the studio. So I'll be taking live calls too. It's going to be a good press conference, and it'll be interesting. Will Pete Hegseth and General Kane walk us through the military operation? They're all at Mar-a-Lago. Right now at I was going to go up to Mar-a-Lago today, but and do a vlog for you guys. But the security is going to be real tight up there today, more so than normal. Well, welcome, Jimmy. So I'm not even going to attempt it because they have everybody there, right? They have there's a military operation ongoing. They have the senior members of the cabinet are there because of the military or the press conference at 11. So I'm not even going to attempt to go up there today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. So I'll cover the press conference today, and we'll see about tomorrow. But there's a mobile situation room in place at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, this is exciting. We could, the flow of illegal drugs into this country, those days are over. Days of killing Americans through the drugs and sending all these gang members up here, those days are over. And you know what? Whoever the new president of Venezuela is, they'll take back all of those prisoners. Right? Every Venezuelan that gets picked up will be deported directly to Venezuela and put in prison there. And they may take deportees from other countries too. Yeah, El Chapo's in the Supermax in Colorado, I believe, isn't he? Yeah, Kilmar Garcia, the fake Maryland man. So here's my question to you. See if any of you have any answers to this. How can President Trump and Pete Hegseth, right, and General Kane get Maduro in like 2 hours, maybe even less, and here we are, Pam Bondi wasted all of 2025 and has arrested no one. But President Trump, General Kane, and Pete Hegseth have Maduro and his wife in custody in minutes, literally. Yep. Good question, isn't it? That's right. President Trump needs to either tell her to arrest some people immediately or fire her or replace her with Judge Janine. Oh, we don't need any resources from Venezuela. We have our own. I can't wait to get the details of the operation. It's going to be exciting. This is how MAGA fights wars, right? There's a couple homeless people around, so I'm getting a little, there's one here and one over here in front of the Starbucks under blankets. So Hopefully they'll behave. I don't need any viral moment with being accosted by homeless people on YouTube. Yeah, they're completely covered with blankets, sitting in chairs. No. Mm-hmm. One's about 30 feet this way. The other one's about 15 feet around the corner. I know, it's not wise for me to be here streaming right now, but oh well. That's why you keep seeing me looking. I just heard the one. I didn't know there was one here till just now, and I heard some movement, and I looked over. I could see through the window. It is sad. No, I'm not carrying. You can't. We have open carry in Florida, but you can't carry a weapon even concealed in the Starbucks. It's against their rules. So, if you open or conceal carry, even though it's legal in Florida, into an establishment that forbids it, that's a felony. They could trespass you. It's a felony trespass. You got to be careful. Mm-hmm. All I have is are you guys. Yep, Publix does allow it. Yep, private property. That's right. That's right. Plus, I'm in a Democrat area right now. So if so when the Democrat cops arrive in this Democrat community, and some guy in a MAGA hat and a Trump shirt, right, in self-defense shoots a homeless guy, what do you think they're going to do to me? They're going to arrest me. Okay, he's going to arrest me. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you got to, I know. That's how liberals are. I'm committing a crime by not letting them victimize me, I guess. I don't know, but I'll tell you this, that, how many wars and military conflicts have we been in since the end of the Second World War around the world? Have we ever seen one fought like this? Not even Panama. Panama, when H.W. went into Panama, and said, and he's a deep state CIA guy, so his real reason for going in, we don't really know. That was a major land invasion. They sent a lot of land forces into Panama. This was quick, precision, boom, in and out. In all these wars we've been in, could have been fought just like this. You don't think that the United States could have captured Ho Chi Minh? Are you kidding me? Of course they could have. Of course they could have. It's not a hard fight when you have overwhelming technology and military superiority like we have. Mm-hmm. How do you know they're vets? How do you know they're vets? You just assume that? You don't think we could have captured Saddam Hussein at one of his palaces in either of the Gulf Wars? Of course we could have. You don't think we could have, after 9/11, gotten bin Laden and the leaders of Al-Qaeda? Of course we could have. They let them go. Or you don't think the United States could have captured Fidel Castro? Of course they could have. The military-industrial complex doesn't rule Trump like they've done all these other presidents. Oh yeah, Venezuela's going to take back all their illegals now. It's not going to be. We're going to have full cooperation with the new Venezuelan president. Mm-hmm. You'd be sleepy too if you're working 20 hours a day and overseeing military operations at midnight. Mm-hmm. All these other wars could have been ended in minutes, but they don't do it because they got to drag it out for the money. Mm-hmm. They don't make as much money if the war ends in 3-4 hours after it begins. It's not an oil grab. We have more oil. The United States, we have more oil than any other nation on earth. Mm. I will be carrying the press conference live at 11, so make sure you're subscribed. I'll be in the studio then, taking your calls. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell. There's not a single war since the end of the Second World War that couldn't have been ended in a few hours. Remember President Eisenhower, beware the military-industrial complex. That's right. Beware the military-industrial complex. They don't want wars begun and ending 3-4 hours after they start. And I'm curious, when we get the press conference, we'll get the timeline. But it looks like this was a couple of hours. It's amazing. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're not new, welcome to you as well. Oh, it's very cold here in Florida. I'm wearing socks, which I don't do very often. Vietnam, what's the other one? They could have captured, well, we should not have even been in Vietnam. But yeah, they could have gotten Ho Chi Minh. Absolutely. They could have gotten Ho Chi Minh, ended that war. We didn't lose the war, we withdrew. Same thing with Korea. Sure. We could capture Kim Jong-un tomorrow if we wanted to. They know where these people are all the time. And the technology that we have is so superior to these other countries. LBJ killed Kennedy for the military-industrial complex. Kennedy was going to end the war in Vietnam, so they killed him. The day after President Kennedy was assassinated, Lyndon Johnson immediately started an escalation in Vietnam. Because they didn't want to. We could have had Bin Laden by September 13th, maybe 12th. If Trump was president on 9/11, we would have had Bin Laden in custody, dead or alive, before the end of the month, if not the same week. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Maduro had an army and air support and everything else. And they shut down the radar. Boom, blocked it with the fleet group. This is how you fight wars. In and out, boom. That's what the technology's for. They just don't use it. When you're owned by the military-industrial complex donors, you don't end wars in 2 or 3 hours. You have them go on for years, a decade, 20 years, like the Afghan war, you know? We don't need any Venezuelan oil. We have more oil than any other country on earth. We do, in the United States. We have more oil than we can drill. But now we got a place to send all the deportees. We don't have to send the Venezuelan gang members to anywhere other than Venezuela now. The new president, I promise you, whoever they are, will take them in. No question. This isn't about oil. It's about Americans getting killed. It's about drug traffickers. It's about the border crisis. It's about all of that. Right? It's about stabilizing Latin America. We stabilize Latin America, a lot of our problems go away. No doubt about it. And that's what's going on here. You know, these guys, you know, Maduro, all of, you know, they've been killing Americans every day for decades. It's over. This is a textbook example of America First policy by President Trump. Yep. Yeah, I will be taking calls when I'm covering the press conference later this morning, so make sure that you subscribe and click the notification bell, guys. Oh man, this is it. I mean, who would have thought drugs? The drugs importation has gone down over 90% because of Trump shutting down the border and taking out the cartel boats out of Venezuela. Now it's probably going to go up to about 98, 99% down. I mean, people that are, junkies are really got to be scrambling for their drugs. Welcome, Canada. Welcome, welcome. Oh, I'm excited. I cannot wait for the president's press conference at Mar-a-Lago. It's going to be a great one. It's going to be a great one. Oh, the wall's being finished. Don't you worry. President Trump's keeping that a surprise. One day you'll wake up and the president will be at the wall. And he'll be like, holy crap, he finished it. They've been working on it all year. I know that's the talking point. Canada and Greenland's next. I don't even know what that means. I saw that on my stream earlier this morning. Over 90%. Yeah. Between shutting down the southern border and taking out the cartel boats, over 90% of importation of illegal drugs has been cut off. Why would we attack Canada or Greenland? That doesn't even make sense. Well, I'm so proud of President Trump because this is how you fight a war. We have the most advanced military technology on the planet and just the best military anywhere. And we can go in and end things on a dime, just like this. These endless wars that this country has been fighting, it's just shameful. I'm disgusted by our past presidents, aren't you? When you see what a real America First president does, like President Trump. President Trump may be the first fully America First president, really, since the Founding Father days, Talk about the modern era. That's right, a strong president and strong defense secretary who doesn't mess around. But, I asked this question earlier. You guys got an answer? How can President Trump, Pete Hegseth, and General Kane capture Maduro and his wife in a few minutes in the middle of the night, but almost a year's gone by, and Pam Bondi can't arrest anyone? Teddy Roosevelt, I love Teddy Roosevelt. One of my favorite presidents. He was my favorite before Trump, but he was not America First. He got us in the Spanish-American War. He got us involved in, because of his policies, we got involved in foreign theaters that we should not have been involved in. He was very much wanting us to get involved in foreign conflicts. But, I'm a big fan of Teddy Roosevelt and admire him, but, most of his presidency was spent trying to inject America into these foreign conflicts. He had maybe the first summit meeting was organized by President Teddy Roosevelt with the Russians and the Japanese for the Japanese-Russian War. So no, this is as America First as you get. This country, we've been under attack for decades from Venezuela, from the gang members, the illegals jumping the border, these very violent criminals, the drugs. Venezuela has had an ongoing attack on this country for years, and no one has done anything about it before President Trump. That's right. This is why he deserves peace. I mean, this guy should get more peace prizes than anyone has ever gotten. Well, Bush can talk, but President Trump is a man of action. He doesn't just tell people what they want to hear. He says what he's going to do, and then he goes out and does it. Yeah, what happened to the seditious six? These incredible military operators that just captured Maduro and his wife, the seditious six, were trying to get them to rebel and lead a military coup against the president. How's it illegal? We've been under attack from Venezuela for years. Has anybody seen any word yet on where we've taken Maduro? Gitmo or the United States? Any updates on that yet? I'll check when I end the stream. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. My name's Brian, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. He's in Florida, Miami. You never know. They brought Noriega to Miami. Mar-a-Lago, yeah. You never know. You never know. I don't know. Is that Maduro's plane flying right now? Mar-a-Lago's right up the street here. Oh my goodness. This is exciting. This is really exciting. It's just, how can you not be proud of President Trump? You know, we went in, and then like 2 hours later, the whole thing's over. And we got the guy. And his wife, too. You know, when I was watching the coverage when this was going on, you could tell the pundits, they were thinking, oh, land invasion. Yeah. See, their analysis is no good because they're all military industrial complex military analysts, so they just assume there's going to be some massive invasion. But we got him. Best president ever, Donald John Trump. That's right. I bet you the military is so proud of him. Not messing around, actually being able to go in and use their full force of power. I mean, that shows you how strong this country is. Boom. It's not, you know, those of you that are watching from countries other than the United States, I mean, it's so nice being an American, right? Being a citizen of not just the greatest country in the world, but the most powerful country in the world. What's it like to be from one of these pissant countries that don't contribute much and have weak militaries, like Canada, right? Isn't it nice to be an American, the most badass country there is? Exactly. Welcome, Scotland. We love Scotland. MAGA loves Scotland. That's where the president's mother's from. President Trump is a first-generation American. His mother from Scotland. Legal immigrant from Scotland. That's right. MAGA loves Scotland. No, his mother was a legal immigrant from Scotland. He's a first-generation American, President Trump. They say he hates immigrants, but his mother was an immigrant, and 2 of his 3 wives are immigrants, so, you know. Doesn't quite make sense that he doesn't like immigrants, right? Suburban flew around the corner. The Suburbans are what the cabinet members use. Every once in a while, I'll see a small group that I know is like a cabinet member or a senior Trump advisor on I-95. They have the Suburbans, you know, like the president drives around in when he's not in the Beast, and they have a small, like, police and Secret Service detail around them when they're going up I-95 pretty fast. Oh, if you're proud of President Trump, press 1. Yeah. I mean, this is if this country handled all military operations like this, and you know what? You know, all numbers mean you love Trump, by the way, and are proud of him. Not just one. All numbers mean you love and support President Trump. You know, I bet you Zelensky's worried because he's been screwing around with President Trump. And President Trump could remove Zelensky from power. Yeah. And plug somebody in there who would actually end the war with Russia. So do you think Zelensky's worried? Yeah. I mean, you know, here Trump's about to end the war with Russia and Ukraine. And what does Zelensky do? Launches a drone attack on Putin's home. What kind of stupidity is that? That's a guy who wants the war to never end, Zelensky. He has no interest in ending the war. Yeah, welcome. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe and click the notification bell. I will be, on my next stream, I'll be live in studio taking calls from you guys, and I'll also be covering the press conference of the president today, taking your live calls, so don't miss it, okay? Make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell. FAFO, no doubt about it. That's what President Trump said about Maduro. Mm-hmm. Yes. This is how you fight wars. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not dragging them out for years. Heck, by the time the press conference happens, the next president might be sworn in. I would not be surprised, would you? President Trump's well organized. These electric cars all sound like golf carts. I don't care how big they are. They all sound like golf carts, don't they? I'd be embarrassed driving around a car. That's a big car, too. That sounds like a golf cart. Well, you want a friendly government to the United States and Venezuela. We want a MAGA government down there, of course. Why would you want to put in another unfriendly government? Congress does nothing. So does anyone have an answer? How is President Trump able to arrest Maduro and his wife in a few minutes in Venezuela, but Pam Bondi spent a whole year, she hasn't arrested anyone? I'd rather have a golf cart than one of those cars. Because he's the boss. That's right. He's the boss. Exactly. Exactly. I hope a lot of the pundits ask that question about Bondi and Trump. That's a great question, isn't it? Maybe we can get a dialogue going about that, because she could do it if she wanted. Mm-hmm. Well, we got inside info on the lawfare people, too. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. It's cold. Mission focused. That's right. That's right. I bet you Pete Hegseth is glowing in the press conference today when he goes up there and details the operation. He's going to be so proud of the military today. You know that. I've never heard well, he's a war secretary, not defense secretary. Old habits, right? I've never heard a defense/war secretary describe our soldiers as warriors, you know, because that's, you know, pride. This one homeless guy over here is making a lot of damn noise. Oh, I would not mess around with Tom Homan. Are you kidding me? You know, if you saw Tom Homan, if you didn't know who Tom Homan was, and you were inside a gas station, and Tom Homan came out, you would know he was a cop, wouldn't you? He's one of those guys, you look at him, you know he's a cop. I don't know what that is, but some guys you can just tell they're cops. I would not mess around with Tom Homan. Tom Homan would kick everybody's ass. Yep. He can back up what he says, unlike Bongino. Right? Bongino talks trash, but You can't back it up like Tom Homan. I love those videos where you see Tom Homan, he's talking to these cops. Cuff them, right? He's like, cuff them. You never see him do that. I love those videos. Who's in charge in Venezuela? Donald John Trump. That's who's in charge in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. FAFO. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, guys, again, make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell. And not only will I cover the press conference, but I will start streaming before the press conference so we can cover the latest that we know at that time. And I'll also be taking live calls. I'll be in the studio taking live calls later this morning prior to the press conference starting and probably after as well, taking your live calls and covering everything we know. It's going to be exciting, exciting, exciting. I can't wait. I mean, this is just so proud of President Trump, man. I mean, you know, these other presidents are just psychotic. You know, they just are. They want these wars to go on forever. Not President Trump. He just wants it to go on a few minutes. It's historic, yeah. Most definitely. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to be back in a little bit. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching. Again, subscribe, click the notification bell. I'll see you later this morning in the studio, taking your calls, covering the press conference, and updating on everything we know about this great action taken by President Trump. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.